You know, one of the absolute coolest things about this podcast?
Not this room. This room is quite warm right now. That's not cool.
It is warm. It's warm in the studio. I was going to say skirting our families to just hang out with each other and
Sure.
talk about film.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Too.
But we also get to meet some fun people.
We do.
And
have fun conversations.
have fun conversations.
Yep.
But like genuinely fun conversations.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. You ring us in. We'll talk about why we're here.
Hello and welcome.
Welcome to the Movement Podcast. My talking about cool things co-host is Brady, and I'm Peter. And we're here today to ring in our episode of our interview with Brennan Clost.
I just rubbed my face forgetting that I was wearing makeup.
Yes.
We had okay. So Brennan Clost of several things fame. He is in the first 5 seasons of The Next Step. He did Fear Street. He did Degrassi. He did Pretty Little Things. What am I missing here? You've got his IMDb in front of you.
Yeah.
Heartland, Meet Me Next Christmas, Pretty Hard Cases, Supermarket, I Won't Let You Go, all kinds of things. Has a new film coming out at the end of this month, August 29th, releasing nationally in theaters, called
Loathe Thy Neighbor.
Yeah. It's an emotion that we've all felt at some point.
Truly.
Like, could you have a more relatable title to a film? Sometimes your neighbor is just a dickhead, and there's nothing you can do about it. But and we had the incredible opportunity to sit down for about 35 minutes or so, close to 40 minutes, and chat all kinds of things, not only stuff about the film, but some personal stuff about his life as well.
Yeah, both professional, both personal, just kind of getting some background.
Professional, personal, culinary.
Yeah, yes, that's actually true.
Yeah.
No, it was a really fun conversation, and I'm excited.
We wish we could show it to you. It's so unfortunate that it'll never see the light of day.
Yeah, but it'll hear the light of your ear, if that makes sense. No.
Oh, no, I meant we weren't going to let them listen to it either. I meant this is just a 5-minute episode to tell you that we did a cool thing.
And that's it.
We're not going to share it with you. But it was cool. Wish you were there.
Yeah. Well, no, we are excited to share our conversation with Brennan, and we're excited for this film, both for Brennan with bringing this project to life, for us seeing it where it was filmed, seeing it locally, and we don't know the radius.
We don't know the exact location. The satellite imagery isn't loading properly. But within 10-15 minutes of the studio, this film was shot.
Yeah, so not only Canadian content, but significant to us locally here.
And we weren't contacted to be in it, but that's, you
can't blame them.
You'll grow old and ugly by holding grudges. So we've decided to let it go. But we do want, if you're listening to this, Brennan, and you shoot another film in the area, I mean,
we could be cattle herder number 4.
I could deliver mail.
Yes. Yeah.
I've done it. I've done act. Have you acted?
No. Not professionally. Not at your level, not at Brennan's level, that's for sure.
I mean, about once a week your wife texts me and says, "Pete's acting that way again." And I never know what she's talking about.
That could mean so many things.
But
So without further ado, let's get into our interview with Brennan.
Yeah, here it is. So first of all, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you for having me on.
We're super stoked. We're seeing the movie Monday in Owen Sound with you guys. So
oh, nice. I'll be there.
Yeah, we're excited for that. Typically in film production, it tends to go idea, then script, then casting and location, then production, post-production, and then everyone pops champagne. That's not how this went, is it?
No, not really. I like to say we sort of like reverse engineered the normal way a movie would come about. And it really was because of the time, because we were doing that in the middle of the actors and the writers' strikes. It really just created sort of the perfect storm for us to take a little creative control back. And yeah, we had sort of the location first. I had access to this through like a family friend connection. I had access to this 100-acre farm that I'd been up to visit and always thought was so beautiful. And, you know, they kind of were like, oh, you should make something fun here. Probably meaning like, you know, a little short film that I think they thought I was going to run around with an iPhone and like make a little short film with my friends.
Right.
And then it turned into our movie, which was like, we had like beautiful Panavision lenses and actors that are friends of mine that I've worked with on Netflix series, and they were available because of the strikes and there was no work. And our director Sergio normally is always booked and busy, and he was available too and was able to come on to the film. But it was really all because of this location. And then Lauren Holly, who's a friend of mine, we worked on a show together years ago and really got close through COVID. After that, she came to me and was like, we should make something, like, let's, you know, it's a good opportunity as a creators to make something of our own. And I was so naive. I'm like, let's make a short film. And she was like, what do you mean a short film? We can't do anything with a short film. Let's make a feature, and then we can get it so people can see and get it in theaters maybe. And who knows where we could take this film. And it really came about because of that. Like, the location was the first thing that we had on board before we even had a story. And
we have to tell you, so obviously we don't know the exact location of the farm, or we're not going to ask you for obvious reasons. We're Hanover, right?
Oh,
so we are, our best guess is within 10 minutes of where you shot this. And watching the trailer, there's been we watched the trailer and the first initial reaction was, I swear I've driven past that. I know that house. Where the heck is that? Yeah. So that's fun.
That's really fun. Yeah, sort of all the local press I've been doing up here, they're like, oh, where did you make it? And I'm giving my very PR response. Like,
yeah.
You know, for the privacy of the family, like, I'm only allowed to say Bruce County. And then they're like, oh, we need to know. And I'm like,
right. Yeah.
Aaron Eldersley. So now I've said Aaron Eldersley. So it's that township.
What's fun is it down in the area that you're in, or anywhere other than around here. Also, you will give that answer and people will go, I'm sorry, where?
Yeah. Yeah.
Brennan, you kind of spoke to the connection that you had with the family farm, but I kind of want you to talk about specifically what it is about this area, because obviously you have a history of spending time in, we'll just call it Bruce County General, but just what is it about this area that lit a fire for you? Obviously there was the connection that led you to do this project where you did, but what is it about this area that kind of ignited in you?
Yeah, so my family used to rent, never like one particular cottage, but just different cottages in the area, particularly like Sauble Beach is where we grew up. I was like, I camped on the campgrounds, and then we rent cottages in the area. And it's just become a really special place for me and for my family. And, you know, just like things over my lifetime so far, like so many special memories just happened to be up here. And there was one cottage in particular that was in Southampton that we rented, and it was just like a really rainy cottage week. So we didn't have any beach days. So then my parents had, like, me and my brother, they were trying to entertain us. So we ended up going to like Purple Valley riding stables and like the Katy Market and just seeing like so much more of Bruce County than I think had it been a great beach week, we would have just done our normal, like, sit on the beach at Sauble and see the Sauble Strip. But it was kind of after that cottage week that we were like, whoa, this area is so cool. And so then now I've gone and like checked out Devil's Monument and Lion's Head and up to Tobermory, and I love Wyerton. Frosty Freeze and Wyerton, like I go over there all the time, you know, like there's now all these little pockets that they hold such a special place in my heart. And it's really my like home away from home when I'm not downtown Toronto. Any kind of weekend I try to get up to this area. So
that's awesome.
So it meant so much to make something here. Yeah. And I feel like there's so many hubs in Ontario that are becoming like film and television production hubs, and so many shows are going up there to shoot. Like I know North Bay is a big one. A lot of shows go up there. but I feel like Bruce County or like this area, the peninsula, is going to kind of be the next little film and TV hub. It's just so beautiful. I feel like it's ripe for locations, and yeah.
And that's fun for us because that's growing up in this area, it was always one of those things of imagining like, man, if you live in New York City, every third movie you watch, you're going, oh, that's where I get coffee, right? Spider-Man just saved my coffee shop. But we don't get that. Like that's never a thing for us. So yeah, it would definitely be fun if that started to be the case.
Yeah, well, and I wanted to showcase more locations in our film, but we were on like a shoestring budget. It was, really indie filmmaking, like scrap it together, pull favors. So the entire film takes place on this one property.
I mean,
unfortunately, we weren't going into like the cute general store in town, or like I wish we could have done more of that. But
I mean, most people up here haven't heard of filming permits, so you probably could have gotten away with it. But
yeah, for sure. I know our crew. We had like a union crew, so they were very worried about getting in trouble, and I was like, well, we could just do it. Like, let's just run and gun and grab the camera and get it. And they were like, well, the union rules, and I was like, oh, okay,
yeah, that's fair.
Nice.
But you're right.
So yeah, I mean, this was a different experience for you for sure in terms of a role, because it's also your producer debut.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. What was different for you, experience-wise, in terms of wearing two different hats?
I mean, I am very A-type as a person, and I'm a bit of a control freak. I'm a bit of a like micromanager, my like friends will say. And so honestly, producing was sort of like a dream role for me. I'd talked about wanting to produce for a long time, and then it was really sort of a role that I felt like I shone in. Like I do think I work really well under a lot of stress and pressure. I'm good like with a time deadline, and I'm good at organizing. And so it really just sort of felt like all these sort of stars aligned very quickly. I think producing was something I really didn't think I'd have the opportunity to do until much later in my career. So I'm really grateful that it came about with this project. And, but yeah, I produced and I starred in the film, but also when you watch the credits, it's a little ridiculous. Like Lauren and myself basically did like every other role. Like I was an animal wrangler. I think I'm credited in the credits as that. There's a bunch of like barn cats that all appear in the film, and I'm like a cat. I'm a huge cat person, and so the cats really felt to me like if they were playing in the shot, how are they playing? And it was me wrangling them. And there's 2 dogs in the film, and so the dogs as well. Like I helped with those, and my own wardrobe for it. Obviously with our director consulting, but even just like steaming the wardrobe and organizing it, and like doing continuity and all these things that I'd seen happening on sets around me suddenly became like, oh, we aren't hiring and paying someone to do that. So I guess I'm also doing that job. It was a lot, but in a great way.
Did you find that a struggle in terms of like, while you're doing a scene, is your mind 100% in the scene, or are you also going, well, I've got these 3 other more technical things that I'm thinking about right now?
Yeah, I think I'll get a lot better at it as I go, because this one it was my family friend connection. So I was very worried about the property. I really wanted the property to be taken care of. And there was one instance where we were shooting a really intense scene, actually. And all of a sudden one of our crew members was like, the cows have broken out. Like, I don't know. I don't know how it happened. I don't know if a catering truck maybe, or not a catering truck, like a delivery person hit the electric fence, or maybe a crew member like didn't latch it properly. Like we had done a location scout, I think earlier that morning. It's hard to remember it all now, but like the cows broke out, and like, I know each one of those cows is like thousands of dollars. So I'm like freaking out over that. The property owners are going to freak out. What do we do? So there were some times when it felt hard to really sort of like click out of producer brain and just only be the actor and the character in the scene. But for the most part, people were really understanding, and I think would kind of hold questions until like a lunch break or a break in the day. And then I'd really kind of like switch out of the scene and try and power through as much producerial things as I could. And but it was a learning curve for sure. Even just, trying not to pepper in any of that stress into like a really calm sort of like, there's a real sort of like romantic storyline in the movie as well. And so in those scenes, it was hard sometimes if I'm coming from like a high stress morning to then be like, okay, right now we're on a first date. So how do I play this scene? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Brennan, in previous roles, you've had to grow as the role has required you to do. So you've taken on a Southern accent. You've taken on horror. You've adapted as you've needed to. What about this project has stretched you? Like how has this project stretched you in a different way?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I do think the character I play in the film, Will, is a lot more introverted than I am. Which doesn't seem like a big like it doesn't feel like that's a big shift to make, but I think because of how our set was functioning and I was the producer and I was also sort of like they nicknamed me CC on the movie, camp counselor, because I was the camp counselor. I was like helping make up beds for the crew as they were coming in, and I had a whole little poster board sign that was like welcome to the farm, and like I really became the sort of like property host, even though it was not my property. I just was the connection point of that. So that was one whole thing. And I was very extroverted with the crew all day. And then it is like a really different energy to shift into when playing Will. And Will's story is, the movie is a comedy, but his sort of like starting point in the story is that he's moving to this farm because his dad has passed away and he's inherited this farm. So, and he had a really tense relationship with his father, and kind of left the farm and left the country in a like, I'm never returning here. I'm moving to the city. I hate the farm kind of vibe. So then returning to that, where we meet him in the film, he's sort of really confronted with this anger and this grief. And I wanted to really ground him in those feelings, even though then obviously like the feud with his neighbor and the romance with the neighbor's daughter are all sort of things that are presently happening to him, but that place of anger and grief is really what anchors his story. And so, yeah, how did it stick with me after? I mean, Will's voice is a lot, maybe not a lot, but quite a bit deeper than mine. That felt like it really suited the character. It was important to him to sort of, and like really drew the mood down in the way that we wanted for that character. And so that was something that I found even after the film. I went home and my parents were like, why are you talking like that? Like I really sort of like held on to the voice for a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, that was a bit of a ramble. But
No, that's good.
That's
good. You hear about stuff like I remember hearing that I think Bradley Cooper, when he finished A Star Is Born, had the same thing, because he drops his voice like 1 or 2 octaves for that role, and then it's hard to just snap out of and go back to normal life.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like the Austin Butler with Elvis, like I feel like he caught a lot of heat online with the interviews he was giving like years after the film, but it's not purposeful. Like you do sort of just carry with you. I mean, and also Will is, I've been very grateful to work a lot, but I primarily still work as a teenager in film and TV shows. And so Will was one of the first characters and the first like leading role that I've played that's like a man with a job, like an adult person in the world. And the way, he, I think, is the closest in my real age that I've played to myself. And so how does that present on camera differently than how I've like always kind of leaned into a more youthful approach to my work before? So that was something too. I do feel like I have a little more like authoritativeness now after playing Will and navigating that film as like a adult man with a job. It sounds silly, but it's very different than playing a teenager in high school.
Sure.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So you talked a little bit about how this film was made during the strikes, and the strikes was obviously like, this is a film-based podcast. We covered the strikes quite a bit, but it was always sort of in this tone of like the struggles and the negative implications on the industry. And obviously AI was a big part of that. We debated like, how is that going to, but it seems like the strikes were kind of a positive thing in terms of the production of this film. So I'd be curious just to hear more about that, about the things that you were able to acquire for free or for very cheap as a result, the skeleton crew that you worked with, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the strikes were really negative overall. And I think there was a lot of fear, like, even in our industry here in Canada, that I wish it could have stood on its own 2 feet a little bit more. Like everything dried up here. So it was like a real dead zone. I was in the process of like about to submit my O1 visa for the States. And then my management in the States were sort of like, well, these strikes, they're seeming like they're going to happen. Maybe we hold off. I don't know, and like we had just come out of COVID and the industry really suffered. And now these strikes were happening, and it really felt like a negative time. So I'm really grateful. Honestly, it was Lauren that took the charge and was like, let's turn this into a positive for ourselves. How can we make this an opportunity? How can we see a gap in the industry that we can maybe fill? And, we kind of predicted, and it was true in some ways, that like nothing was going to be filming. So if we could hurry, if we could make this movie really quickly, if we could hurry through post-production, then the sale of the film, or just like the public's hunger for new stories, would be that much more to help us get an indie film off the ground. And I do think it really helped. It helped with TIFF for sure. I mean, there were tons of films that still submitted, but not as many, I think, as like past years.
Sure.
And now the industry is like back to where it is. So I'm, again, really excited and proud that we're going to theaters, because it was sort of the idea that like, oh, nothing is being made now. So if we make this film, then it'll come out and nothing will have been made. So there'll only be a couple of movies and we'll be one of them. And I mean, that's not really true now, but we were able to like pull off incredible things during the shoot. Panavision, I believe it was our director and our DOP both had like very good connections and friendships with the people at Panavision, and Panavision was kind enough to lend us like $500,000 worth of gear.
Wow.
And equipment. For free. We paid the insurance obviously on it, but like, the equipment, I think, just elevated. Like our movie looks like a huge blockbuster because of it. And because of our DOP and our directors like skill and using the equipment and their eye for everything. But like the lenses alone, I think, just really elevated the whole project. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, our actors like Sean Benson, who plays Joe the farmer in the movie, sort of he's the best friend to my deceased father, and sort of then becomes the new father figure for my character. And he's like the caretaker of the farm in the movie. He's always booked. He's always booked on a different project. I know he's been out in Calgary shooting another season of Billy the Kid lately. He was on The Boys. I worked with him on Tiny Pretty Things. That's how we met. And we were just lucky that he was available to come on. And he is one of my favorite performances in the film. I think he's so charming and likable. And I find myself, even still, I've seen the movie like 50 times. I still love every single scene that he's in. Similarly, like I think just everything kind of came together because of the time and because people were available and bored and wanted to go and make a fun movie. And, oh, we get to live on a farm. Sure. Like we were having a bonfire some nights after shooting. I mean, not me and Lauren, we were running around, but some of the cast would have they'd make s'mores and, sit outside and have a beer after shooting. And like, it felt like a really fun film camp is what I keep calling it.
Sure.
Where like, we're working on a movie all day and then we're just like hanging out on a farm at night. Yeah.
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned the lenses and the look and feel of the film, because before I watched the trailer, I had read about the budget and all of this stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, so low budget. And then I watched the trailer and I was like, it doesn't look like it. Like I don't so then I'm like cross-checking my information because I'm like, is it low budget? Because this doesn't look low budget. This looks like good glass that they're using. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what's happening. So
yeah, we scored, honestly. Like really, it just made the movie.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I kind of want to expand on the film camp aspect you just kind of mentioned on, and just kind of elaborate on what it was like with this chance of not only working with friends that you've worked with before, whether it's Brittany or Lauren or Jessica, but not just crossing paths with them on a project that you're passionate about, but truly living together on set. Like it's just not only the location, but where you're living and all these kind of weird factors. Like it seems from the outside looking in that it made this kind of once in a lifetime kind of opportunity that from the outside looking in would be kind of a lot of stress, as any movie is, but a lot of joy because of all the things that it's allowing you to do.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And just, you're right. Like Britt and I, we were on a show together when we were 16, 17. And we haven't been hired together again, on the same show. So it was an opportunity to have her come on and play, and get to do some really like mature and elevated work together, different than like what we started on Disney Channel, and then also like in between scenes, having friends like bring you a coffee and like check in. Like everyone was just, I think, felt how special it was. I mean, Sean, he's said, and I think he even posted on Instagram like today, he's like, one of my favorite projects I've ever worked on, like never been on a set that was like this. Like it just was, it felt very, very special, very intimate, obviously too, with only like 8 crew members and like 8 cast. But yeah, I think we all just felt how fun and how, once in a lifetime, like you said, like this might never happen again, that we're just making a movie on a farm with some friends. And, I feel really grateful that this experience happened at all. And I'm just really glad, like, to go back to, I think it was like your first question, the way that this movie got made, like it was location first and then it was like friends second. And I was like, these are the friends that we want to cast. Screenwriter, can you make roles for all of them? And like he did. And I honestly think everyone's performance is phenomenal in the movie. Like everyone is so perfect for their parts and it really showcases my friends well. And I'm so glad for that. I'm just really excited for people to see them in these roles, because I think I hope it leads to more work for everybody. I hope filmmakers see this and they're like, oh, I've never thought of Brittany in this way before. I got to put her in this sort of movie, in this role. And, Yeah.
Well,
cool.
and just that chance to have that extended time together, right? Like I would imagine that it kind of felt like the season 10 reunion, but on steroids, because it's not like, okay, the day's over, we're done shooting, I'm going this way, you're going that way. It's, what are we going to do tonight? Right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. And like the final night, we like did a huge McDonald's order. We had like a cooler of beer, we had like cake. We were just like, and we would eat all our meals together. Like the catering was amazing. Thank God. Because I feel like the food can also make or break a shoot. And so like, we all looked forward to like, a lunch break, and we would go. And Sean too, he teaches Meisner technique. And so he was kind enough to give like Britt and I a little private lesson. So then Britt and I are like using the Meisner modalities and techniques and like running scenes together. And like, it felt like we were also in like like I said, film camp, like getting little lessons here or there. And I think just like the older actors like Lauren and Sean were just feeling so generous with their time and their knowledge to us because of the atmosphere of the shoot. Like, Lauren was in my ear whispering ideas while we're shooting scenes. Like they were all just really generous with their wisdom and knowledge in the industry. And I honestly think it's like leveled me up as an actor so much because of the friends that came on. And then we're just kind to be like, oh, like, what if you thought about the scene this way? Or like, do you do this when you prep? Or, oh, like, this is something that really helps me. Or just like, general like life chats about the industry that we were then having out by the bonfire, after shooting. Like it just did give us so much more of that, like, invisible time together that you wouldn't carve out otherwise to really bond. Yeah, it was amazing.
Sure.
It was cool.
Shifting gears a little bit here, you have in the past openly talked about your experiences growing up with bullying, and how that experience has informed and been a part of roles that or performances you've done in the past. Is that also true for Will Larkfield?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And sort of like with Will, I got to live out what I never got to live out in high school, which is like the confrontation. Right. Like he gets some really good confrontations with his bully, Wanda, Lauren's character. And like tapping into anger and rage and sort of like, using my little actor tool belt and pulling back to like, little young Brennan, and how does this feeling come up and how can we, use that in the scene? There was tons of personal experience to mine for this movie, and for Will's story, especially. Yeah. Yeah. And my real life dad is in the movie. So we needed tons of photos of a dad for my character. And I was like, right. Well, and my character's dad is supposed to be like a almost professional hockey player that then, because of some terrible concussions, was diagnosed with CTE and moved back to this farm. And because of that was sort of unpredictable. And that's sort of then why his relationship with his son is quite strained, and the dad can barely take care of himself. And anyways, my dad played hockey growing up too, so I had like this epic hockey photo of my dad that we then like printed on a newspaper. And when my parents watched the film, my mom was like cackling because my dad's face is just all over this movie, and there's like childhood photos of me with my dad like everywhere.
Oh,
That's
cool.
awesome.
That's so cool.
Mm-hmm. So plenty of personal stuff to mine for this role.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's awesome. So with Loathe Thy Neighbor set to release August 29th, and then Prep School Disappearance now in post-production, what's next on the docket for you?
You guys did do your research. I forgot about I'm like, oh yeah, I guess Prep School is on like my IMDb. What's next for me? Well, I've been developing some projects over the last few years. I optioned a book a few years ago and was developing that, and just have a few things that like never really quite clicked. I think I've really been searching for what's the right story for me to tell next. And so I've had a little bit of a breakthrough actually over the last few months, and I'm developing something now that I'm really excited about. Again, option developed from a book, but also really kind of hits all of my personal interests and my background in the industry. So dance is involved. But then also a little supernatural, a little horror element.
Nice. Interesting.
So I don't want to say too much, but there's some projects in and that one I think would exist more as a series than a film. But
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm begging the property owners where we shot Loathe Thy Neighbor. I'm like, that would be so good for a horror. They have this like old unfinished basement with like all that's like really scary. And I'm like, please let me shoot a horror here next.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll see. Maybe I'll get to. That'd be really cool. Shoot like a trilogy of films all on the same property, but how can it be shot differently? And I don't know. Maybe.
Right. Awesome.
Well, yeah.
So now that you have a foot in the producing world, and I assume you're going to continue to pursue, hopefully, producing based on the positive experience you said you've had with that. Where does that go from there? Possibly directing at some point, screenwriting.
Like my manager's like, so if you have any interest in directing, like we would really, and I'm like, yeah, actually I do. It's funny. I feel like the older I get, and then like new little moments of success pop up, you can always like trace them back to childhood. And there was like me with my cousins. I used to write scripts and direct all my cousins, cast them all in plays. And every Thanksgiving and Christmas, I would direct a full play, or we have my family, like my parents would have friends over and their kids. I'd be like with our camcorder shooting full movies. I think I've always loved directing, but just called it different things in my head of like, oh no, I just want to be a performer. I just want to act. I just want to whatever. But the more I've like sat with myself, and I've been doing The Artist's Way. I don't know if you know that novel, or not novel. It's like a workbook.
Yeah.
But so through that, I really have an interest in directing. And so that's why I'm like, what story do I really want to tell? What would be like important for me as a director or filmmaker to tell next? And so I have a couple ideas for films that I've been working on, but yeah, I really do want to try my hand at directing next as well.
Awesome.
Like I said, I'm a control freak. So just how many jobs can I take over on a set?
Right. Right. Is it possible to be in the scene and the gaffer at the same time?
Exactly. Can I sound mix and be the actor and direct everything?
Yeah, for sure. I have to ask you this. What for you is the ideal food item from craft services, and why is it a grilled cheese sandwich?
I was already thinking grilled cheese before you asked it. I don't know. I've like always loved grilled cheese, and then it just became a thing on Tiny Pretty Things that our craft guys, they like loved that I was like the Canadian. There were 6 of us of the young leads that were the dancer actors on the show, and out of those 6, I was the only Canadian, and I just like chatted those guys up. I love like talking to everyone on a set, and I mean my co-stars did too, but I think I just like especially struck a good friendship with the craft guys. So they'd always be like the Canadian, whatever. They look at their call sheet and see if I had an intimate scene, and then they just knew that I like wasn't going to eat that day ahead of it because I wanted to look good on camera and not feel like bloated or whatever. So always they would deliver a grilled cheese to the set with like a little "for the Canadian" on it, and sit it on my cast chair. Yeah, I don't know why it's a grilled cheese. It just feels like a comfort food. My grandma used to make she still makes them, but When I was a kid, I would go over and like that was my lunch of choice always, was like a grandma's grilled cheese. And actually, shout out to the area, Channing's Chinese in Owen Sound.
Yep.
Does a phenomenal grilled cheese.
Interesting.
It's so good. It's it's like a Chinese Canadian restaurant. So
Right.
they have like a Canadian menu on the Chinese menu. And so whenever I order Chinese from there, I also get a grilled cheese and dip it in their curry sauce.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Deep cut.
So then
Yeah.
walk us through the idea. Like, are we talking cheese slices and Wonder Bread? Are we talking aged cheddar and sourdough? Like, what is...
Oh no, I want like a basic, like a kid's grilled cheese.
Yes.
Yeah, Kraft
Okay.
Singles on like white bread.
Because nothing else melts as well. Like, it
No,
has
exactly.
to. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. No, and my mom, mom was a great cook, and so she always tries to make like a gourmet grilled cheese for me. They're always delicious, but they're not what I want.
It's
I'm
not
like,
right.
I
Yeah.
want just a Kraft Singles on a piece of white bread. Yeah.
For sure. I have one last question. So you have quite a background in terms of the studying you've done, whether it be Juilliard, the Barrow Group, any of those, countless numbers of dancing programs, stuff like that. You've also referred to Juilliard. I mean, obviously Juilliard, of all of those, is the most well-known, most prestigious in terms of its reputation. And also, in your words, its cutthroatness.
Yes.
What is the... of all the studying that you've done, all the places you've attended, the training you've had, which of those was the most informative, the most fulfilling for you, and why?
You know what? I do think Juilliard is the answer.
Yeah.
And as cutthroat and as intense as it was, it also completely changed me as an artist and as a person. And it was just like my parents always talked about to my brother and I, like the years between 15 and 25 determine the rest of your life. And I went there between, I was 17 when I moved there and I was 21 when I graduated. And it just felt like such formative years of teenager to young adult that like really did change me. It was my first time living away from home. And also like other experiences that were happening in that time. I was filming my first TV show. So like that was my summer job. Every summer I'd come home and be on set all summer. So it really was, I think that program and like those 4 years were so intensive in like, intense ways, but in great ways too, that it was the first time that I was just like a dedicated artist, sunrise to sundown every single day, versus like, high school growing up when I was taking acting classes, it was like on just a Saturday afternoon, or like dancing. I was dancing a lot, but it was still just like after school. So I do think Juilliard really reframed my mind into being like, oh, you are a full-time artist.
Right.
And just like so many tools that I'll pull on now, even as even just acting, from like dance teachers, knowledge that they gave me, or dance like cues that they gave me for my body, work so well for acting. Like I just find myself constantly revisiting, and I'm so glad I kept so many journals and notebooks through Juilliard, and I have them all in my home office, and I reference them all the time. Even for Loathe Thy Neighbor, I was like pulling out we had a class at Juilliard called Elements of Performing that really just only focused on like the energy of the body and like your use of your eyes and like your focus when performing, and how you can really, using your focus and your backspace, dictate the audience's relationship with you and relationship with the stage, and talking about things like a boomerang where you're like sending your energy out to draw them back in, or like purposefully ignoring the audience, or even when your back is away, how do you draw the audience in with your backspace? Like all things like this, I think about all the time when I'm on camera, and my relationship to the camera and the audience. And so I do feel like, even though I went to Juilliard for dance, just the things that I learned there, I mean, we did take like acting for dancers, but it was like nothing. The program at Juilliard just completely reshaped and changed the trajectory of my life. Like I wouldn't have gone into the arts if I hadn't gotten in there. So yeah, that program for sure.
Right. Because you were competitively dancing at that point.
I was competitively dancing, but then was like, I mean, this is going to sound braggy, but was like in gifted calculus at school, and I won the biology award. school and was like, I was on the like biochem science track.
Right.
Was like going to go to med school, was like planning. And I got into all the programs very like gratefully. I got in everywhere I applied. And then Juilliard was the last place that I got in and was like, oh, how do you turn down Juilliard? It seemed just like too incredible of an opportunity. And yeah.
And then, so what was the response from friends and family? Because you're on this track that is like, you know, typically such a sure thing. And then you're like, I'm going to pursue the arts, which is historically or stereotypically such a
inconsistent.
It's viewed as this like wishy-washy pipe dream career choice. Like, yeah, what was the support system like?
I mean, luckily my family and friends, I think they all just knew me and knew my heart so much. They were like thrilled and were like, of course, like, and actually my mom and my dad like led the charge on me even auditioning for dance schools. Right. My mom put together like a whole file folder of just American dance schools for me to audition at. And like I did all the applications and wrote all the essays, but she really was like, this is the deadline. We have to get it in by then. Like, and both my parents came with me to all the auditions and they're so supportive. But I remember my grade 12 chemistry teacher, I found out I got in and then like the whole high school was buzzing with like Brennan got into Juilliard and there was sort of me and this other girl that were sort of like the two artsy kids at the school. And you know how they'll do, what are they called? When they're like best smile or like best dressed in grade 12.
Yeah.
There's something that they call that. I can't think of it now, but she got voted most likely to win an Oscar and I got, or vice versa. One of us got most likely to win an Oscar and the other one got most likely to win an Emmy. And I think I got the Emmy and she got the Oscar or something. And so I don't think it was any surprise to a lot of people that I was going to pursue the arts. But my high school chemistry teacher, who was like, I think I was her little like mentee kind of thing.
Right.
I came in wearing a Juilliard hoodie. Like after I had found out I got in, my dad went down and got me a sweater from New York. And my chemistry teacher was like, what a waste of a brain. I was like, what a waste of a brain. What? Like, I still can be a smart person. And actually, most artists are very smart. Anyways, yeah, that I always think back to that. And I just stood there like stunned as she said this to me in front of the whole class. Yeah. I like went up to hand in something at her desk and yeah. Anyways.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you think we need to cover?
No, we covered so much. That was fantastic, honestly. Thank you.
I told you I'm a blabber.
That's
be reined in sometimes.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So thank you so much. This is our chance to plug you. And then if we miss anything that you want us to plug, please pipe in. But please go check out Loathe Thy Neighbor, being released nationwide in theaters on August 29th. Brennan also has an Instagram page that he's very active on, a YouTube channel that he's very active on. Anything else that you...
And TikTok, if people are on TikTok. Okay. Those are the sort of the three that I'll...
Yeah.
And it's just at Brennan Clost everywhere.
Kind of a dead Twitter page. I'm not going to lie. We'll shame you a little bit there. But also nowadays, no one's actually on Twitter. So
yeah, I don't know. I never quite clicked with Twitter. And now I don't know when the last time was that I posted on that page.
No.
That's fair.
It's gotten very political.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, sir. We will see you on Monday.
Yeah. Thank you both so much. Those were excellent questions. It was really fun.
We appreciate it. That was a lot of fun for us.
Hopefully we'll talk to you again sometime.
Yeah. And I'm excited to see you both Monday. I hope you enjoyed the film.
Absolutely.
I'm sure we will.
We look forward to it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you later, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Wow. What an interview.
It really was. And it's just so fun to get a first-hand account from someone who is so involved with this project and obviously the various roles he was. And just, you can tell he's passionate about it specifically, but also the area that it was filmed in and just the people he was with. And just at the core of film, just being an artistic endeavor, it's fun to listen to the creators be passionate about their project and what was what brought that passion forward.
Yeah.
And it's no different with this.
Yeah. And just like, I mean, here's the thing. Whenever you get the opportunity to sit down and talk to someone in this industry, which we've been lucky to do a number of times, there's always this like you know, I don't know. You hear these stories of like, oh, this person that you've seen in all these movies and you love them. You always love their characters and they seem so wonderful. And then you meet them in real life and wah, wah, right?
Yeah.
Not at all the case here.
No.
Brennan was not just like an incredible guy to talk to, but a great conversationalist. He kept apologizing to us. He was like, you know, oh, I'm sorry, I drag on or I ramble, and we're like, dude, no, like
keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Like this is one of my favorite experiences that we've gotten to have on this podcast so far. I'm definitely looking forward to the opportunity of hopefully chatting with him again. We're going to meet him Monday. We're going to the premiere of the film. And so we will at that point also do a review of the film.
Yep.
But yeah, really, really genuinely awesome guy. Provided he casts us in the sequel.
No, honestly, the term I'd use is genuine. He felt very genuine. You know,
Yep.
It wasn't felt like he was putting on a facade or just kind of going through the motions. Like he was very genuine about everything that we chatted about. And it was a fun conversation. And I'd urge everyone to follow his socials, kind of like he outlined, to check him out. And he's got a lot of fun projects he's been a part of and some fun up and coming projects. So
yeah, he was like, I get it. Like, I get that he couldn't tell us too much.
But they were tantalizing. I was like, that's actually pretty interesting.
I get that. Yeah, I get that he can't go into details about what he's got coming out. But I'm like, that's always where I'm like, come on. Like, give me a little more. Give me a little more. Because you have me hooked.
You do.
You have my attention.
He's good. He's in the profession for a reason. He put the hook in the water and we were biting it. So
yeah. So anyways, thank you so much for listening.
Yes. Please check out all our socials below. Like, follow, subscribe. We really appreciate hearing from you. Let us know what you think. And check out our Patreon page, merchandise page. Help support the show. And until next time, depending on when you're listening to this, at the time of recording it, the film has not been released yet. But if it has been in your area by then, check it out. It's a fun film, and there's a lot of fun content in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I got nothing to add. So that's good.